Morning guys, so Monday the 7th of June. Just delivered a land management course for women. Come on, Will. I think it's really important to stick to your boundaries and stick to believing in your process. There was a couple of times where keep going, Will. Saying hello, Will. So Willow as well. There's another Willow. Yeah, I think trusting in your your process and your boundaries and the guidelines that you create, knowing that they will work and they're there for a reason. And there are times and moments where you sort of think, oh, is it going to work? There's one woman who was quite emotionally upset and very triggered and quite defensive, and sort of got to a point where she was literally saying to me, right, go on then, I'm not obviously behaving good enough, I'm not worthy enough, send me home, tell me to go home. And I was like, I just stuck to it. I was like, no, I'm not asking you to go home at all. If you want to go, that's your own decision. And I just sort of, knew that it was coming from a place of fear and worry, anxiety, defensiveness, protection. And I think I'd have been a bit disappointed for her if she'd have left the course. And then when I delivered on the second day, not only had she stayed, but she had also really got quite good support from some of the other women. And in fact, to be honest with you, it was really weird. It felt like it was a different person that showed up, and the actual the feel in the room was very different as well. A lot of the tension at that point disappeared. And then we did a lot of literally about 3 or 4 times through the day, do a breathing, just stop, notice your breathing, scan your body, touch perhaps different parts of your body, notice, and then just get them to write down on a reflection sheet, scoring how they felt, a score of 1 to 10, calm to really sort of about to explode, what they noticed and any actions they'd taken. It's a very simple process, but if you just continue to do it, then after a couple of times, a lot of the women were just like, wow, this is nothing complex, it's really simple, doesn't even have to take that long. And yet, by the time they were doing it 2 or 3 times later, they generally were noticing how much calmer they felt, how the breathing had changed, but naturally rather than sort of tend to force it. It was very, just let it come, let it go. And interestingly, the woman I was on about, towards the end of the course, she was very reflective of her process, and basically said that when she sort of, is in new situations, new people, she goes into, she also said she can sometimes go into like a childlike state, a bit of a, free toys out the pram, but she also goes into a mode of, I'm going to kick out, I'm going to protect myself, I'm going to push back before, somebody sort of does that to me. And she was, really very aware of that, acknowledged that. Had really turned around, first time we met, it was like literally, and I mean literally every other sentence, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry for that, I'm sorry, almost like sorry for breathing and existing. And just kept sticking at it, kept challenging it, kept reinforcing what sorry's about and what you do and don't need to say sorry for. And that was massive turnaround by the end of the course. So it's the old cliched trust in the process, but also I think that if you know what your intention is, if you know why you're doing what you're doing and what's behind the the ground rules you're creating, what's behind staying firm even when it might feel uncomfortable or somebody might appear to be being quite defensive or quite antagonistic, it really is important to stick to your boundaries, be clear about your expectations, and reinforce the same message a number of times so people are also clear. People get the consistent message back. They know where they stand with you, and therefore they know where they stand with themselves. They know and get where they can push, where not to. Where to sort of flex the muscle, if you like, and where to draw the line, and that helps them as well. With a lot of did quite a few grounding techniques as well. When you start to feel disconnected to your mind and your thoughts and your body, 5 things you see, and 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can touch, taste, and so on. And you can do it in any different configuration. You don't have to do in that particular order. That helps people feel quite grounded, and just it's a real increasing of awareness, a sense of trying to encourage people to be aware of what they're feeling, what's triggering them, slowing everything down, what's going on in their own mind, their own body, and working around triggers rather than it being about the other external event or the other person. It's like, well, actually, what's driving the response behind it? And then often, if not all the time, it's more about the belief system, the meaning that somebody's attached to something that's really driving the trigger. So then we were looking at challenging some of those beliefs that may not be healthy, may not serve the person anymore. It may have served them in certain points of time in their life or in certain relationships, but there might be, let's say, old unhealthy beliefs that are just not really helping anymore. So we did a lot of work on that, and also looking at reinforcing affirmations, that positive sense of both identity and values that are important to people. So yeah, it's always really inspiring, particularly when I also get to hear some of the stories, and I only get to hear small snippets, but still some of the stories that can be very, very traumatic actually. A lot of the women have been or been in, come from quite abusive relationships. Some may still be in those, so they're really challenging themselves to try and deal with what can be very difficult situations as well. So be clear about your boundaries, be clear about your expectations, and keep reinforcing them as well. Have the rest of a moochy wonderful Monday, my word, and I shall speak to you later, guys. Take care, bye.